Evening everybody, Silverbolt here, back for a Transformers review, and going to be reviewing about the only thing that at this moment can be reviewed, and that is the Dark Side of the Moon. Dark of the Moon, sorry. Dark Side of the Moon was a Pink Floyd film. Was Pink Floyd. It's the Dark of the Moon. And apparently it's not a typo from a Pink Floyd. But there we go. Now, I am not going to go into the plot of the film and what happens at this scene and what happens at that scene. Well, I am going to go into probably various scenes, and I'm not going to give you a blow-by-blow of the film itself, but it will contain spoilers, so if you haven't watched the film yet, I wouldn't watch this video unless you want to be told unless you don't mind being told what happens. But I don't want anyone going, you told me what the hell happened in the end! Well, I have warned you in advance. Now then, first things first, I saw the film at the Birmingham IMAX last night at midnight. Fair dues to Adam for giving the idea of doing that. And it was my first experience in an IMAX, and it was my first experience watching a film in 3D. Now then, so I will say this. Carly's backside on that size screen in 3D, yeah, it's pretty good. Now, I like the film. I enjoyed it. Michael Bay, he's not a good director. No, he's there with George Lucas. He's not a good director, but people still like his films. J.J. Abrams is a good director. Ridley Scott, good director, at times. Michael Bay, no. Michael Bay will never make a good film. He will never make an intellectual film. He will never make a stirring film. He will never make a film that sits there and you go, wow. What is that, an advert for Transformers Dark of the Moon, the video game, playing in the background at this moment in time? Yes, it is. Right, I don't care how many mess ups I make. I'm not going to reshoot this video. Anyway, but yes, Michael Bay will not make a good, intelligent film. So with Michael Bay films, it's a standard rule with Michael Bay. You need to leave your brains at the door, and just go in and just vegetate. Because Michael Bay, he does big budget explosions. Dark of the Moon, no exception. It starts off big, and it carries on big. The opening sequence of Cybertron was brilliant. I'm going to say this now, I enjoyed the film, and I did like it, and I thought it was fun. It has its flaws, and it has a few whopping flaws. Which I'm going to go into. Well, the ones that I found are the ones that I thought were its flaws. And people may, disagree or agree. That's fair enough. One of the things that I don't think is a problem, and I'm not going to turn and say I found this a flaw because it's not G1. And Optimus Prime still got flames, and he shouldn't have flames. Because I couldn't give a toss about that because it's not G1. But there we go. The first thing that got to me, and it bugged me, was the relationship between Sam and Carly. And for a start, well, Carly, a lot prettier than the other one. I will say that, but we'll get to that. Well, no, we won't. That's my point on it, actually. We don't need to get any further with it. Carly. Intelligence. Sophisticated, articulate, good job, looks great in that little white number she was wearing all the time. And she's going out with this whinging, whining, complaining, annoying little, look at me, my life's so hard, spoiled little bitch, in the form of Sam Witwicky. And the first 20 minutes of the film of listening to him, I just wanted to say, man up, you little douche. So there we go. I didn't like the initial coming out of Sam. It grated on me. Oh, I got left behind, babe. Fucking who? I can understand his frustration, but I didn't need to listen to 40 minutes of it. And showing up for an interview in jeans. Right, your girlfriend's is obviously fairly well off, mate. I'm sure she can buy you a pair of trousers. That bit, a little bit of griping aside. I enjoyed the cameo of John Malkovich, but in mentioning now, I've mentioned 3 human characters, and that was one of the things, is as whilst the film fell back on the errors of the first one, in which there was too much human involvement, and the action sequences were all over the place once again. It didn't happen as much, but they were still there, and it's like, what, but that might have been just the fact that I was going like that the whole time anyway, trying to keep an eye on everything that was going on. But there we go. The transformation graphics, even better than the first one, and the second one, looks phenomenal. I thought they were very, very well done, personally speaking. Again, though, too much human involvement. The fact that Wheelie has a little boyfriend now, I wasn't best impressed with. I thought we had one annoying little microbot. Why did we need a second? But there we go. Though I do think they should have got rid of the actor for Wheelie and just got in Scott McNeil and have him do his rat trap voice the entire way through, because that would have been awesome. But never mind. The dog. Random happenstance, Sam's going out with Carly, and he comes with not 1, but 3 pets. One of whom's in a pervy little thing. So there we go. Sam, understandably, getting rather jealous, because, his girlfriend's boss buys him a very nice, expensive car. Not a surprise. Sam, you're very correct in your estimation of that guy. He was good looking, good job, great collection. You're a whiny little bitch who shows up to an interview in jeans. I thought at times the film was very humorous. Well, humorous, not very humorous. Maybe not in conventional manner. I did find it quite funny that, it was a madhouse in John Malkovich's department because one girl had a red cup. But then she went home crying, which just to me didn't make any freaking sense whatsoever. But in all fairness, I had, just done a 14-hour journey and hadn't slept in 2 days because I'd just come back from Ireland. You're lucky, actually, because the accent is mostly gone now. But I came back yesterday and I was full-fledged bog trother again. But there we go, the accent's mostly gone now. I don't want this to be a total bitch fest about the film. I want to point out what I thought was good, and I want to point out what I thought was bad. I don't want to sit here and go, in Michael Bay, don't like Michael Bay. Raping my childhood. Transformers shouldn't have films. I love Don Murphy. I don't like Don Murphy. The guy's a prick. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We were in the, there was just 7 of us going. We were all like, wow, this is brilliant. And when they first got Sentinel Prime, pretty cool. I have to say, the fact that he was Sentinel Prime. He looked more like Alvatron, and he was voiced by Galvatron. I have to say that was quite a strange, surreal moment. You can tell I'm not the biggest Spock fan because Sentinel Prime gives a direct Spock quote, and I went, My girlfriend, Philly, nearly had a fangasm there and then. She loves Sentinel Spock. On the subject of Sentinel's Prime, I honestly, because I purposely avoided any kind of reviews and any kind of anything, and I personally did not see Sentinel Prime's turning on the Autobots. I really, really didn't see it. Adam apparently did see it. He saw it coming. I didn't. I went, Ironhide! Yeah, and then when Ironhide died, I was like, what? No! Ironhide! No! I mean, Sentinel should have at least given the line such heroic nonsense. I really think that should have been in there. Ironhide's death annoyed me. Not because he died. That wasn't such a huge problem to me. It was the fact that it was never mentioned or remarked upon again. The big leader of Nest in his nice shiny uniform who, jumps off buildings and acts like a big flying squirrel. He was good mates with the guy. Never says a word. not a word. Optimus Prime, not a word that, you know, his friend is dead. Bumblebee, not a word. No one mentioned that Ironhide was dead. I mean, did they just forget about him or something? So I really, really didn't like that at all. The director of intelligence that is attached, that was attached to Nest, I didn't like her. She was so aggravating. I mean, at least the idiot in the first one that got thrown out of the in the second one that got thrown out of the plane, at least he had comedy value. She didn't. She was just a pain in the ass. It's like, what did you just have to throw in an annoying female character because you've suddenly realised that the only two women you have in your Transformers films, Michael Bay, is the on-screen Totty and the penis-obsessed mother. God, I nearly did cry laughing when she started asking Sam if his penis was big enough. I thought that was brilliant. But again, they got turned around and said, you know, get out of town, and that's it. We don't see them again. You know, get in room for more action. Which I'll get to. Which was awesome. At times. One of the biggest gripes that, you know, everybody, including myself, had about the first Transformers movie was that it was the sweeping camera angles and it was the in and out motion and you couldn't tell what was going on. It was all just a big mechanical blur. Well, that's back with interest. And that was annoying. That one really made me go, ah! You know, it's the bit where they all got captured, which was another thing that got to me. You know, Bumblebee goes from saving Sam and all the others to 30 seconds later on the ground, hands behind his head with the rest of the Autobots. You know, in the space of 30 seconds, he just suddenly gets captured. And like, we know that, you know, this isn't the 80s cartoon Bumblebee who gets knocked over by a strong fart. This is kick-ass Bumblebee. We know Bumblebee can fight, but he gets taken down just like that. I know he was outnumbered and all that, but in the space of 30 seconds, no, I don't think so. We got introduced to new Transformers. I think they did better with the Transformers. Admittedly, they didn't get a huge amount of screen time because it was all taken up by Optimus Prime. Once again, Ratchet is relegated to the sidelines, but I think he actually has more lines in this one than he does in Revenge of the Fallen. Sideswipe and Dino, fantastic. I love them. And Dino, who, you know, is... admittedly was supposed to be Mirage, and now he's called Dino because he's a Ferrari Dino, according to Adam, and he's usually right about these things. So, and to me though, he was just drift. You know, he was just drift with the blade arms that extended as well. And I thought those two, Sideswipe and Drift were Dino, sorry, were epic. The film, at the moment, has actually inspired me to want to get some Transformers movie toys. I actually want to get, because Prime's trailer, now I've seen the pictures for the adverts for Prime's trailer, and it looks cack. You know, it's got that butterfly winged thing. It looks awful. But in the movie, it's epic. You know, it just comes out in a big circle. Right, which mega instruments of death will I have today? Broadsword, double-headed battle axe, let's have some. I enjoyed that, and I do hope they bring that out. And you know, it goes to show you just how much I enjoyed the fighting sequences. That I want to have Leader Class Sentinel Prime, Leader Class Optimus Prime, just facing off. That won't happen because I can't justify spending 10 quid on Transformers the movie toys. I can't imagine me justifying spending myself 100. What else did I notice about the film? Carly turning around and saying that Megatron was Sentinel's bitch. I just thought, that's brilliant. You know, goading Megatron into action. But the thing that got me was Megatron was able to scan himself a new alt form, which, you know, requires that he go through some form of body change. But he couldn't repair himself from the beating he got at the end of Revenge of the Fallen, which is presumably a few years in the future. You know, and you can argue that one back and forth. I'm not overly worried about that. Megatron very much took a back seat in this film, I thought. Starscream was in there. I like Starscream. Soundwave, nice to see a little bit of Soundwave's sadistic side. Laserbeak was just brilliant. Laserbeak was just brilliant. You know, and he looked like such a proper. You know, he really did look like a mechanical bird until he got to the face, which is just this alien blah thing. Laserbeak was great. Hearing him speak was also interesting. That was quite funny. I did enjoy Laserbeak and Soundwave, and the fact that they paired the two of them up, again as they did in the second film with Ravage. I did enjoy it. Starscream, again, I thought that was quite fun. You know, again, improbability, you know, Sam's holding onto his eye by a lasso and he's getting thrown around the place, and if that's not going to rip your arm off at the shoulder, at the very least it's going to pull it out of place quite severely. But no, he's got him and Major Lennox just holding onto him, and you know, and they just fly around and, you know, act scared and then make a quip. Great. You know, you really have to put belief on hold when it comes to Michael Bay films. And I'm not just talking about the fact that, you know, it's giant transforming robots, but it's the fact that the humans go through such palaver as well. You know, when the buildings, you know, the building's falling down and they're sliding down, and, you know, they're sliding really, really quickly down this slope and they're shooting into the windows, and I thought that was a little bit OTT and a bit over the top. It was fun to watch, but it was just a little bit OTT and fun to, and I thought the ending, and not the end, I thought the ending was a letdown. It just stopped dead. You know, it was like when I read, you know, the end of Deathly Hallows, the book, and you get that like 4-page epilogue, which was just dire and did, you know, actually let down from the book of the Harry Potter series, in the fact that it just left so much unanswered, and it just was badly written, and it was just everything. So there we go. And I thought, you know, the way, because I actually, you know, the credits come up and I went, what? That's it? That's all we got? So yes, I enjoyed the film. You know, the same way. I'm trying to think what I compare it to, because I enjoyed it despite the fact it was bad. I'm actually looking at DVDs, scrolling down. Mortal Kombat the film. The first one, the live-action one with Christopher Lambert and Robin Shaw in it, and Lyndon Ashby. That was good. I enjoyed that. It wasn't a good film. Okay, compared to the next one, it was Pan's Labyrinth. But it still wasn't a good film. But I still enjoyed it. And I think, you know, Transformers Dark of the Moon, it's done that for me. Lots of action, lots of blowing things up, quite humorous in places, lots of one-liners. Sam Witwicky's still a whining little bitch. Wheelie's funny, his boyfriend isn't. You know, and it's enjoyable, and I did like it. I really did enjoy it, and I probably will go see it again. But as I said, it doesn't make it a good film. It doesn't. But it's what you expect from a Michael Bay film. You know, if someone like, I don't know, let's just say for argument's sake, M. Night Shyamalan did the Transformers movies, they'd be a lot different. But Michael Bay has done them, and I think for what he has had to do, which was make realistic, giant transforming robots with the amount of pressure that the fan base has put on him in regards to it, I think he has done a good job by himself. He hasn't done good movies. He's done great visual movies that are flawed, but are still enjoyable to watch. You know, it's still fun to watch it. I mean, let's just say The Haunting, the 1960s film that I've done a DVD review of, and that was written by Shirley Jackson. That's a great film. You know, and it is acclaimed as a good film. Philly hates it because it's in black and white. So, you know, it's always going to depend on your own personal preferences. A lot of the people have all said, and I know people who've said this. I know people who hate it, who hate the film, who can't stand it, who wish to God they'd ever gone and seen the damn thing. But a lot of people have said they liked it. A lot of people have said they hated it. I am in the camp of I liked it. I enjoyed it. You know, if you want to see giant robots beat the living snot out of each other on screen, go watch it. It's fun. It's enjoyable. Just make sure that, like with so many of Michael Bay's films, you leave your incredulity, your intelligence, and in some regards your integrity at the door before you go in. Because they will insult all three at some point. I'll mention the Wreckers as well. The Wreckers were in there. More stereotyping. But yeah, actually no, I'm going to argue that one in the other case, because against the stereotyping, yes, you could argue that, you know what, it's just as bad as Michael Bay throwing in a racist stereotype as he does throwing in the eye candy. Yeah, well, okay, you know, they had wonky British accents, you know, and it was like looking at a computerized CGI model of Jason Statham, but there we go. Look at Cybertron and Energon. Actually, no, go back to Beast Wars. You know, with Rat Trap's Brooklyn accent. You know, look at, was it Wildcat in Energon? Jetfire being, was he British or Australian in the Unicron trilogy? I can't remember. You know, they've thrown in those stereotypes, those voice stereotypes. Now, I think the Wreckers did a very good job, because they were grease monkeys. I will admit I was disappointed when I didn't hear the line, Wreckers wreck and roll. I will admit I was disappointed when I didn't hear that, because I actually thought Prime was going to say that, but because it's comics, it might not have got it. It's probably why I didn't get in there. But they were grease monkeys. That was really good. One of the things I did like about it was the execution of Wheeljack. I know his name's Q. But the execution of Wheeljack, I thought was really... No, actually, no, you know what? I will go back to calling him Q. The execution of Q was, I thought was interesting. I thought they... Because, you know they weren't going to do it to Bumblebee. But I really thought that was quite harshly, cruelly, brutally done, was the execution of Q. And for a second, I did think that Soundwave was going to blow off Bumblebee's head. Not that I would consider that a bad thing, but I did think at one point, you know, Bumblebee was going to get his head blown off. I thought, and I was actually going, go on, please, let's have a Bumblebee die for a change. Go on. Could have killed him. But it was good. I liked it. I think it's flawed as a film. You know, I don't think it's a good film, but I enjoyed it. I would watch it again. And I don't know. You know, I've got one of those. It's one of those. You know, I like it, but I shouldn't. You know, it's like Marmite. You know, I love Marmite. I shouldn't, because it's vile stuff apparently, but I like it. You know. I'm glad I used Marmite as a metaphor. My first thought was cocaine. But there we go. Yes, it was a good film. Well, actually no, it's a terrible film. But it's a fun film. I liked it. It got some mistakes. It got some things right. Got some things wrong. You know, is it a good addition to the Transformers movie franchise? Yes, without a shadow of a doubt, it is a good addition to the Transformers franchise. Whether that's because Transformers 1 and 2 have such glaring issues and problems, well, that's your own choice. I can say it is a bad film. I can say it's a crap film. I can say don't waste your money. At the end of the day, I will buy the DVD. For me, that's rare, because I usually get you know, a lot of my films from other sources. But I will buy the DVD. I have the DVD of the first film. I have the DVD of the second film. I have watched them since. I will buy the DVD again. The third film, and I will have all three of them. Quiet dog. You know, I'm just fueling the Bay franchise. And a lot of people that slate the Transformers films, they'll have a copy of it. And if you don't like it that much, don't suddenly buy it. Someone's baking. It smells like apple pie. I could be wrong, but I'm hoping I'm not. Well, that's my review now done of Revenge of the Fallen. No, it's not. I've already done Revenge of the Fallen. That was several years ago. This is my review of Pink Floyd, Dark of the Moon. But, so, for now, this is Silverbolt, and I want to point out in this video, I want to say thank you to Adam, Philly, and Ali, who stood in the kitchen the entire time I was making this. But, cheers, guys. But, yes, so this is Silverbolt, signing off, saying au revoir, adios, auf Wiedersehen, and if you haven't seen the film, I do enjoy it. I do hope you enjoy it.